Hello and welcome to my channel. I am Dr. Anshu coming back with the today's Hindu editorial analysis. So sorry for discontinuing the series. Actually, there is a holiday off, and after that was not well, so that I am not able to upload the editorial. And I'm seeing the comments that why I'm discontinuing. This was the reason. That's why I'm not able to. And literally, really I'm really missing it. Why I'm not uploading. I don't want to break the series, as I promised that I will continue it, and I will continue. So don't worry about it. So just tell me how was your holiday, how you spend it. My holiday was not well. Actually, I just after the Holi was good, but after that I felt sick. So that's so nothing at all. This is happen. This can be happen, and from these things you don't have to panic. I'm just a little bit sensitive, so I take the things a little bit seriously. So that's why. But I'm promising that I will not discontinue this series. So continue the series. I have already uploaded this editorial. If you're new to my channel, I am uploading this series from January 1. You can go and just spare some time there. If you like the content, you can subscribe to my channel for the updated uploading of the Hindu editorial analysis. So let's continue this series without wasting the time. So let's have a recap as we are continuing this. So front page covering about the India's good trade deficit at a 42-month low following the dip in the gold crude imports. Trade discussion with a US positive, says official. Second page is covering about the editorials, a land where ambition grows minus an outbound ticket. Third is about the barrier faced by the construction workers. Here the writer's opinion about, we will discuss it. Fourth is about the a jab in time and recipe for a failure. Fifth editorial is about this is the yesterday editorial I was covering, so I found it important, and this is continuing in the series today's also, so I added it. Sixth is about China's welcomes the Modi's comments points to 2000 year history of ties. Seventh is about the India's and Australia agree to deepen cooperation across maritime, land, air domains. Eighth is about Indian embassy in Iraq lost many records in 2003 war. And the last but not the least, this was the last. So let's coming to the first page is about India's good trade deficit at 42-month low following a dip in the gold crude imports. So there is a lowering of imports of gold and crude. So there is a trade deficit occurring. So basically trade deficit is the difference between the exports and imports, and this is basically $22.9 million in January, and deficit stood at $19.5 billion. So this is India's and gold silver imports were $2.7 billion, and which is the lowest since June 24, and since June it was 22.5 billion. So the imports were at $11.89 billion, which was the lowest since July. Basically, so the data's and graphs of trade deficits of comparison of Feb August and Feb 2025. But what is the lowering trade deficits since April and in August 2021. So this is a continuing series from here. Next is about the trade discussion with US, positive, says official. So there is a proactively engaged in boosting trade between the two countries. The proactively between US, which mutually benefited the issues which can increase the trade between two countries. It described about the trade that was US between that was going to occur in the March and 6, that was held with the US trade representative is Jamieson Grenier and US Commerce Secretary Howard positive, and said these positive talks continue. The senior government's official said these talks were framework of Mission 500. So we already discussed about what is Mission 500, what comes under it, and it was very important as from prelims point of view. Just have a brush up of what is Mission 500, which aims at increasing the trade between the two countries of $200 billion to $500 billion, side negotiation on bilateral trade agreement, and this which will he said it will be multi-sectoral. So its silence on Tesla is declined the comment of tariffs on a premium electric cars from US, and those made by the billionaire Elon Musk, and also the status of a revised import policy announced to American automaker. So moving to the editorial is about a fine editorial by Sasu Tharoor. We have already basically he presented less editorial, but this their editorial is very good. Like he covers almost every aspects that should be discussed. So let's have a detail view what is the editorial related to and what cover in this. So the writer is talking about the unceremonious repatriations of Indians who attempted to illegally to enter the United States of America. How he is ended up with the handcuffed and manacled and deported to the Amritsar airport, where the whole series of issues of migration. It's all about not a mere policy issues, but it's a human story woven into collective memories and dream. So basically, India is giving example that immigration is a has been long been a part of human history. It's shaping civilizations, economies, and societies across the global. India's with a rich societies across the globe, tradition and global engagement have seen a people transverse continent in pursuit. He is giving examples like how the Indians today the Indians are no longer just worker abroad there, but they are the leaders. Like he's giving example of Sundar Pichai at Google, Satya Nadella at Microsoft, and the host of bonds raised in India heading to the Fortune 500 company. But there are also immigrations of enriching both migrants of host nation. So the Indian migrants and the drive innovations, economic power in West. So what is a paradox that is painful? For decades, the lure of American dream has been beckoned the young Indians with a promise of economic opportunities, social mobility, and prospect of better future. So it's a promise of economic opportunity, social mobility, and a prospect of better future. While the IT engineers in a Silicon Valley went on scholarship, their work on visa stay on. Also, the Sikh cab drivers navigating the street of New York may have found less conventional, and with the remittance of India's crossing. So what is the remittance? It's a 120 billion in 2023, and migration fuels the cycles where a family seeks to replicate the success of relative major cities in the promise of work under radar, prospect of eventual amnesty like so many before them, and draws them. An estimated 7,25,000 undocumented Indian migrants, and nearly 1 or 4 Indians in US live and work clandestinely in US. So there's also a painful paradox is the India's illegal migration story. We celebrate tech showcase glimpsing, but also there is a growth story of struggles for dignified work, features of booming statics, opportunities, and still unable to assure its people their future lies at home. So sometimes it's about survival. The agents, unscrupulous agents, weaving fantasies of Western riches, convincing even people from India, most a prosperous state, to leave. Gujarat, a state of champions economic success story, the launch pad of Prime Minister Rice, sees the thousand of risking everything to migrate. Punjab too is a revert to India's bread basket. It feeds the nation youth. Yet its youths are living in droves like rising unemployment, dwindling agriculture returns, insidious drug crisis eroded hope. So in the desperations, many Indians turned to shadowing the networks. What was once path of young single men now sees entire middle class families, the bedrock of India's ambition, risking everything to fresh start abroad. The Gujarati family poses the death to the trapped in snowdrift on Canadian. So this is a struggle of there is a writer is telling about the different class of people about their story, the states like how the states of youth of Gujarat and Punjab are setting in abroad, rising unemployment there, and also about the middle class families, about the bedrock of India's ambition, how the Gujarat family that froze to death trapped in US drift. So the unparalleled human capital, still unable to provide opportunity for its own people. Why has a pursued dignity, stability and economic security led the million of Indians to disdain the shores? They are uncomfortable questions, ones we can no longer ignore. So what is the need of that peoples are living their own, migrating there, and why the pursuit of dignity, stability, and economic security led to millions of Indian distress. So it's a more than mirage than a dream. The American dream once seen a golden ticket, increasing a mirage. Many find themselves trapped in endless cycle of its uncertainty, living in fear of deportations, working in jobs barely sustained, with racist suspicions. And many who live struggle does not end cross the border; it follows them in most tragic way. We hear the migrants working endless hours in exploitative conditions. Families back home waiting the news that merely ends in humiliating deportation. There's many stories about many people are not able to their humiliation stories, like how they are deported there with the handcuffs. They are not. They are feeling just to not telling anyone. So it's a 1,70,000 Indian migrants had detained by the US Custom and Border Protections while attempting to cross the border illegally, largely from Canada to Mexico. As deportations, the manner in which process is conducted by dismaying. It's a felon and immigrations and understanding the agitated India and Colombia. So issuing is ponder over here. Like diplomacy is not just about the policy but also a reflection of a national character. But India does not and should not endorse the illegal migration. We cannot be a silent spectator. While India, it's a nation's stature is not just economic clout, but it's a silent spectator to the mistreatment of our citizens. Another paradox is like aspirational. It's a aspirational young Indian, but he preferred to fulfill aspirations abroad. But once they, India, India must not be a place of migrant are forced to return. But once they want to return, those coming back are just deportees, but skilled, ambitious individual whose aspiration can drive the growth. Entrepreneurship, infrastructure, educations must be imperatives. So as the world build walls, India must build the bridges to opportunity, prosperity, and future migrations is an option, not a necessity. So, a place where ambition flourishes without an outbound ticket, success is celebrated at home, but prosperity is not a foreign fantasy, but reality shaped on our own soil. So let's make India once again a land of hope, not because the world is rejecting for our people, but because if we do the right things, they will no need to look somewhere else. So it's very beautifully concluded here. So next is about the barriers faced by the construction workers. Let me just went to that article. So here is about the constructions of the fastest growing sector, contributing to the 9% of national GDP, and it's projected to reach to $1.4 billion, 1.4 trillion by the 2025. So it's 3 crore workers are estimated to be working in last sector, and it's already there was a of L&T Larsen and Tobro chairman and Subrahman said that that they should work on 90 hours. So there is the exploitations of constructions workers. The more the people that are inside this system. So the fragment journeys, the construction workers, especially migrant laborers, endure a fragmented employment. Landscape is characterized frequent relocations, high job, welfare benefits, and despite legal frameworks such building, other construction works, regular employment, condition service is BOCW. It's Act 1996. 1996. Accessing the welfare entitlements remain a significant challenge. So it's about 5.6 crore construction workers are registered, state construction boards, and they have collected 70,000 crores processes which are used to be welfare for construction worker. So a primary barrier if construction worker is obtaining and maintaining documentation and welfare registration proof like identity, birth, date of birth, residence are essential documents, making it difficult them to secure documents such as birthplace, residence, and rental agreement. So the employment certificate validating is 90 days of work. It's 90 days of employment certificate, and it is substituted by self certification for a trade union certificate. Still, employers are majority called visited verification, while the state government collected 1 to 2% construction, and BOCW Act to fund workers' welfare is 75%. It's 75% remains unutilized, and the database inconsistent verification protocols, its cumbersome registration processes, and construction workers are affected by seasonal employment distribution. So the basically the conditions of migrant workers also move across multiple states searching for employment, but the absence of interoperable system means that benefit registered state cannot be accessed in another. So the workers registered under Haryana BCOW board loses the disturbed continuity, and this disrupted continuity in welfare delivery discourages the workers from registering altogether. So what is the proposed solution to to address the labor shortages construction industry? We proposes the following action. First is one is it's unified. There should be unified national labor identification system, one nation one ration card. It's a good initiative. Writer suggested that one nation and one ration card scheme would facilitate the interstate probability if registrations are unlike or to the WN on e-Shram portal and worker data across the states. Second is state government should adopt open source digital platforms to improve the accessibility and efficiency. So the digitalization is a lot of improve their conditions. Also it's standardize the workflow, reduce administration. Such platform automatic verification through Aadhaar seeding the real time, simplifying document protocols by accepting alternative proofs, relaxing the verification protocols can ease the process. Like state governments facilitate the bulk registration through the site camp, on-site camp, large construction of projects, investing in skill development programs. Construction is essential for addressing it's long-term labor shortage. A robust skilling ecosystem tailored to meet the evolving demand of industry, and a dignified worker environment is equally critical for maintaining the health workers. So in conclusion, labor shortage cannot be addressed without acknowledging and resolving the systemic barrier to welfare access and employment continuity. The barrier should be removed so that labor shortage can be addressed there. So next is about a jab in a time of India's push for vaccination against the flu. So it's influenza virus that is spreading in the Delhi NCR region, and there should be vaccine to be introduced for adult also. So here's it's already discovered about the season influenza A and influenza B, and there is symptoms like sore throat, high fever accompanied by muscle pain, body aches. These are the symptoms person is suffering from there, can see in there. The flu causes a mild to serious illness requiring hospitalization with sometimes, and there are two peaks of seasonal influenza from January to March, and other in latter part of southwest monsoon. So January is going to, there is a reports are coming there. There is reports indicating a rise in seasonal influenza. So there should be a cautionary note to make a renewed efforts to push adult vaccination. So epidemiologists also say influenza surveillance is a key tool to be circulating. The strains are circulating there and define the seasonality. And however, the task for the government is a little more complex. It's about to prepare to handle the outbreak of anticipating, and it's particularly among the high risk groups. Attention should be paid to children, so these are more prone prone to this disease, senior citizens and children's with a respiratory chronic respiratory conditions. And key among intervention is like increasing awareness on vaccination for influenza, and all ages will benefit from periodic short updated flu vaccine. And the area focus on health managers immunization of short shrift. A moment is left to WIMS. So high groups. So there is a urgent, clear and urgent in tone to make an impact on high risk groups, particularly very simply vaccine saves the life. So next is a recipe for failure. So the Donald Trump came to the power with a promise to shut down the wars in Ukraine and West Asia, and but in less than 2 months, Mr. Trump, like the most of the preceders, started bombing another country. Already we have seen the case of it's Houthis Yemen. There is a bombardment of bombs on the Yemen that was crossing the territorial, there was already a Houthis targeting the Ansar Allah, better known as Houthis, to be Shia militants attacking the shipping of lanes of Red Sea. These are very news. I just forgot to put the map of Yemen, so it is important. I will add in next, if news is will continue, I will add to the next slides. So the attacks are violating the ceasefire agreement. So US strike has come to attack on Israeli vessels for ceasefiring the agreement, and Iran to discuss its nuclear program of Tehran has not been taken yet. So these are in news. The US is they many things are as a US is a most economic and dominant country, so there is a many bilateral trade agreements, and other countries are going on. So this is so much in news. So just have a look what other countries agreements are going on. So have a look in this about this. One more news is added about Houthis in Yemen. So next is about, already I'm talking that the 31 killed in US strike on Yemen. Houthis was a reply. So there's a since Donald Trump took office, 31 people killed on the Saturday evening. The rebels said that United States President is held the rain down upon, and Iran-backed group, you did not say. So there is strikes will not pass through the spawns. At same time, Iran Minister of Foreign Affairs Abbas Araghchi commended the deaths and Washington. So basically, the US has did that aircraft attack, US strikes, because of they are saying that they have did because of their self defense. And the Houthis, who have attacked the Israel and Red Sea, shipping throughout the Gaza war, and said the children were killed. An attack on Sana'a as well as in areas of Sadda, Al-Bayad or Rada killed 31 people, wounded, and the most of whom were children, women. And Houthis Health Ministry spokesperson. So the Houthis say they struck US aircraft carrier group twice. The response follow attacks on Saturday ordered Donald Trump to hammer the Yemen capital's Sana'a. So just take a look of map of Yemen. Its neighboring countries also. I just forgot to put the map. So just let me remind, I will add it. So the capital Sana'a, several people killing 53 people according to the rebels. The response from Houthis follows attack on Saturday on order by US. So the Houthis over there is a repeated attack on Red Sea sparked by the Gaza war, which have been put a major strains on vital trade route. The rebels said they had hit back by firing 18 missiles and drone at US's so carrying the Saturday before launching a strike hour. There is no immediate contact from United States about the Houthis claimed attack. The Houthis leader is Abdullah I Houthi called for large scale rallies on Monday for anniversary at Badr. 7th century military victory by Prophet Muhammad. Next is about the China's welcome the Modi's comments points to 2000-year history of ties. So the Xi Jinping about the two sides were restoring ties to pre-2020 while ensuring the difference don't be disputes. To comment on podcaster of US based for strongest indication that Beijing are prepared to move beyond the tensions of the Galwan clashes that was in which 20 soldiers were killed by the PLA and the soldiers incursion on the actual line of control. So lack was a stable but not normal. That was a degree of standoff remained between the two armies. And there is a two countries consist cooperations there, and no history will reflect that relations would remain just as strong in future. All the decades they went to 1962. So friendly exchanges, Chinese government have noted that 2000 year this his Chinese India's mutual learning, mutual understanding echoing. So next is about India's and Australia agreed to deepen the cooperation across maritime lands. So there's inter-cooperation ability access across the maritime land and air domains. But two countries decided to focus on cooperation in maritime domain, awareness, reciprocal information sharing, industry, science and technology. Exchanges include the employment for each territories. This was agreed in 9th India's Australia Defence Policy Talk in Delhi. It's 9th India-Australia Defence Talk. So this delegation was headed by Joint Secretary, it's Abhinav Prasad, while the Australian said it was the first Assistant Secretary International Policy of Division Department of Defence Australia, Bernard Phillip. Last is about the India's embassy in Iraq lost many records in 2003 war. So the rebel, the petitioner who was sought to detail his birth records of embassy, Right to Information Act 2005, where the Edwin Nazarus Domelo wrote the Indian embassy in Baghdad, saying he was born in Kuwait on July 28, and when the Indian mission was not established that country. So the embassy official applied the saying so much information available in their possession, and CIPO is reiterated that many official records were lost and destroyed during the US invasion of Iraq to topple Saddam Hussein, then the president. That was a very already, I think, read in our polity book of class 9th. It's about Saddam Hussein, the president that was where the Iraq, there was a war that was happening in that area of Baghdad. Missiles attacked by the US led forces. So that's about, let's have a recap and ending this session. So front page is covering about the India's good trade deficient at for 2-month low and falling dip in good. Trade discussion with a US positive says official. Next is about the land where ambition grows when outbound ticket. Opinions were discussed about the barrier faced by the construction worker. Fourth is about the Jabi time and recipe for failure. Fifth is about the it's Yemen, US strikes on Yemen, how this was reply. Sixth is where we'll cover about the China's and welcomes the Modi's comments on points to 2000 year history of ties. Seventh is India and Australia agrees to deepen the cooperation maritime, land and air. And eighth one is about the India's embassy in Iraq to lose many records of 2003 war. So that's for all today. I know I've just breaking the series. So I'm promising that I will continue this. Just stay tuned to my channel. I will upload every day and I will continue this series. Don't worry about it. Thank you for staying till the last. Tomorrow we'll meet with a new material. Till now, good night. Take care.